Welcome back to the Real Estate Rat Pack Radio Show with Chris, Joe, and Rob. The crew is taking your calls, so dial in at 1-800-808-5548.
And welcome back to the Real Estate Rat Pack Radio Show, where Joe likes to play it at the beginning of all of his presentations, we found out just now.
Yes.
Yeah, I was just saying.
Are we getting a royalty off that?
A shout out to Nancy Cottrell.
I know Nancy out there, Keller Williams out there,
Yeah,
Premier.
yeah.
Absolutely.
I was teaching in a class on credit a couple days ago, and she laughed and said, "He has an intro. You have to play the intro first." And she put on the Rat Pack music. So,
Well, enough about us. Let's talk about our next guest.
Why not?
Is that we've had Jim on before with Solaris Homes
Yes.
in Waller.
is
Welcome
in
back. He is
in the elite.
a amazing resource about energy.
Yeah, and he's
so
in the elite two-timers club.
There's only like what?
Because there's
4?
only like 4 or 5 now that have been on the show
That is
twice.
correct. He's a two-timer.
Now, that may be saying something about you guys.
We appreciate good talent. That's what it tells about us. So
Yeah.
anyway, so
I'll accept that.
let's talk. I mean, you've really kind of grown since you were here last year. You're really kind of expanding where you're going. Talk a little bit about your company and where you're about to build.
Right. We, of course, do high energy, high performance type of houses that are at the very, very far end of energy efficiency. And the aspect is that a lot of the architects that I do business with are coming and saying, you know, I have middle size houses, large homes, extremely large homes, and people are looking for this. They're both sensitive on, as you were mentioning earlier, green and energy efficiency. So that has sort of worked into, we have for quite a long time been working in houses with the Department of Energy and net zero homes. We've done some subdivisions north of the Heights where they are actually the homeowners, their electric bills run for a family of 4, maybe $100 a year.
That's amazing.
$100
year.
a year.
A year.
That's not a
year.
month. That's a year.
Not a
everybody.
month.
No.
A year. That's just
that's
mind-blowing.
actual expense,
Yeah.
or is that after tax considerations, or is that just actual bill?
That's the
from
electric
Reliant
bills. Yeah,
or whomever they're using.
They get together some of the streets where we have 18 or 19 houses. Sometimes they'll have a barbecue in the summer, and they'll roll out. They'll come with their bills and everything. And I remember one fellow saying he used to have a $320 a year, or it's $320 a month in August, and this year he had $1.80. So that type of thing. So it can be done. Yeah. So
That is amazing.
yeah, there's
Went
a lot
from
of products out there.
$320 to $1.80.
$1.80. Yeah.
And what's the average size of home on that?
These houses run about anywhere from 1,450 to 1,800 square feet.
Wow.
But size doesn't, on that, this is one case where
No,
size
doesn't
doesn't
matter.
Okay?
No.
Whole bunch of
heard that
guys
from
on the
a guy.
radio.
It went there.
Yes.
It went there.
Sorry about that. But in fact, you can collect that type of energy efficiency in big homes. We have one just starting right now that's 24,000 square feet living. Okay. And it is going to be basically a net zero house. See,
Wow.
So, yeah, you can do that. I mean, the size that part of it doesn't matter. Some of the things you discussed today, like windows. If you have really good energy windows, you look at them. You have ratings like 30 and under. Vinyl, they need to be vinyl. The metal windows are just out.
They conduct
Right.
heat.
That's the frame does drastically as far as the air conditioning systems. If you talk about people coming from Mexico, they get a shock that they're saving money. But you get somebody from Europe, and they look at it a lot different. They're amazed that we heat water in a big can in our attic.
Right.
That is
That amazing.
Right.
And why they put them in attics, I've never figured out why they took them out of the garage and put them in the attics.
Well, you take like tankless hot water heaters, which run about 30%, 40% less energy per year. And the idea is you get continuous hot water, a shower for 5 minutes or 5 hours, it doesn't matter.
Right.
And in Europe, they've been using that since just after World War
Yeah,
I.
that brings me into it because I know that those are usually gas heated. Do they have the efficient electric ones that are tankless?
Just when you say electric, there's nothing really efficient, as far as, they're relatively efficient. Let's say they're more efficient than an electric hot water heater.
What's the
standard.
price difference in that between a tank and a tankless?
A good hot water heater, gas hot water heater, is maybe $300, and a good if you do a regular tankless hot water heater, about $700, and if you do a condensing, which uses 95% of all the BTUs in the gas, it's about $1,100.
And is it hard to retrofit a home?
No, it's extremely easy. I've recently been using a product that come out of Canada where they're the first ones to realize you can move 3/4 inch of gas through a 1/2 inch line if you just pull it a little bit, and so they can retrofit any place. They can just put it
Wow.
right up in your
For like $1,100.
yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Navion is the name of the company. And they even have the ability now that that particular product will learn your schedule, and if you take a shower at 7:30 in the morning every day, it will preheat some water.
Wow.
Be ready
Amazing.
for you.
Well, I noticed I had someone take a tank out of an attic out of a house I lived in, and of course it had everything had calcified. They
Yeah, so
couldn't
they weigh
drain
like
it,
8,000
and
pounds.
they ended up stepping through my ceiling. I'm like, it's very cumbersome, and you're supposed to drain your water heater every year. Nobody I know
Nobody
does
does
that.
Nobody I know
Nobody
does
does
it. So this actually,
I've never done that.
from a actually a return standpoint, you're not. What do you think the life is on a water heater, like a tankless water heater?
A tankless hot water heat, especially if you put an online filter, you're looking 20 years. That's the difference.
You're not going to get 20
Okay.
years out of a
No
traditional-
way. Yeah, no way.
Then
to
the
get
other
that
aspect is you do get it. There is a tax credit when you buy one because the energy efficiency component. I can't remember what it is right now. I think it's somewhere between $50 and $100, which is a help.
Absolutely.
Getting
That sounds
back-
like a fantastic return, bang for the buck. That's a very easy cost point entry for the average.
And I want
family.
to talk about foam insulation because I know a lot of people have taken existing homes, pull the sheetrock off and put it in foam, but it doesn't necessarily work well on a
Jim shaking his
existing.
head.
Yeah, he agrees with me.
Taking the sheetrock off.
Yeah,
That was the
it's like
first
an
part.
attorney. I always,
Exactly.
I like an attorney. I always ask questions I already know the answers to. But everybody else out there doesn't. Talk up a little bit about foam for an existing home and foam for a new home.
There are things you can do with foam as far as go in the attic and you can use about 8.5 inches of foam and you can get that house to, because 85% of your energy loss is through the ceiling. So you can knock that down quite a bit. And there's a couple of different versions of how you can do it, but the idea is you can use it like that. You can't get into the walls because when you put it down the walls, it'll blow the sheetrock off. And I found something interesting. I was back east last summer, and older houses, when they're replacing the siding, they blow the foam insulation and using the backstop of the sheetrock inside, and then they foam outwards and they put their new siding on.
Well, that would work.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of that.
Yeah, well, and there are some people, and especially our main office is in the Heights, so a lot of people they actually do take everything down to the studs, and then start.
And that's an
start
excellent
again.
time to get in there and do that.
So
And see, on a lot of houses, like in the Heights, if you do that open cell foam in the walls and then in the ceiling you do a closed cell in your ceiling joist, you can cut your attic right out.
well, the biggest energy thief is, of course, air conditioning. Talk about new air conditioning systems, what people should look for. If you're buying one of your Solaris homes, what do you use?
Well, there's we go in two different, and sometimes you'll do a split of two different kinds of air conditioning. First of all, when you go into using foam and you get an extremely tight house, for example, instead of like an exchange of 15 to 2,000 square feet per minute in a house exchange, it's 400. So you've cut that down a lot. Is that you can't use the same type of air conditioning. You have to go variable speed air conditioning. But the upside of that is the fact that you can marry a variable speed system with foam insulation, and a 14 SEER system actually becomes a 16 because of the performance factor difference. But what, again, is coming out of Europe and Asia is a ductless air conditioning, where you don't bother with having ducts.
Yeah, well, I know Mitsubishi makes a unit.
They do a very good job.
Yeah, they were actually starting to get some traction here in the U.S. and stuff like that, and especially in retrofitting a house. Is it
It's beautiful.
you can just it goes up
It
high.
makes so much sense. You make the air
Right.
conditioning in the room that you're using, and the whole idea is, and I use this with big houses. The master suite, I can control that because it just looks like a remote, and you can set the temperature, and then the rest of the house can sit at another temperature.
This is almost very much like the hotel or motel type air conditioners, where it actually you control it and it goes directly through the wall.
The
and-
concept, except they've taken it a step further.
and
that you
prettier,
don't-
I hope.
Yeah, you don't see it, and the idea is that it will be sensing the room with infrared, and if it sees a hot spot, it'll actually they'll direct the vents to that spot.
And do you see a lot of that coming in the future? I mean,
You
as
bet.
far as that going?
You bet, because
Right.
all of a sudden you have something that's a 23 SEER, which you really can't do with duct air conditioning. I mean, they're just that efficient.
Well, the thing,
Wow.
and I was a home builder
Sure.
in the past, and I remember one of the things I used to build with hard duct, but in a lot of the big houses I was doing. But I know a lot of people use these flex ducts and they pinch it, and I noticed that makes it really very inefficient in airflow.
Well, let's think about it. If you have your coil sitting up in an attic that's 150 degrees, and you're downstairs, you're at 75, and you're calling for 2 degrees of difference or 3 degrees.
Right.
That's a normal thermostat will call for is about 3-degree variance. It's got to get that coil down to where it can even work. Now, in our affordable housing, as net zeros, we air condition the attic. It becomes part of the.
Well, talk
space.
about
Air conditioning the attic.
affordable,
That is such a
affordable product.
mind-boggling concept.
Talk about your affordable product you were just referring.
Yeah, I mean, they too, we have that standard like we were talking earlier. They have dual pane insulated vinyl windows. They have the tankless hot water heater. We air condition the attic. Although we increase the volume, the system is so more efficient, it reduces the cost of doing the situation. See, there's 8.5 inches of foam insulation in the rafters of the house. So the duct, you can go from an R8 duct to R6, which is cheaper. You can use, again, 14-SEER air conditioning, but it's going to operate like 16 or better.
Talk about where you're building that product.
Just north of the Heights. We like to call it Upper Heights, but in actuality, it's a CRA area, and it's Acres Homes, and that's one of the areas. But what it's taught us is we could take this and translate it in any size housing. That's the thing, and that's what we're doing this year, is moving out into other price
I'm really
point
excited
segments.
about that. I would love to see more stuff built like that because I'm not really happy with a lot of the new construction I'm seeing close in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the housing industry, because I've been in about 30 years plus, and it's very conservative, and it doesn't change very quickly. So
Yeah. Is it any more expensive to build your house as opposed to a conventional house?
A little bit.
What do you think percentage-wise
Well,
that is?
let's take because there's a lot of different things going on at once. You're saving on a 1,600 square footer. You're saving about $1,800 a year in electric. You have
Jim, do you contract for people? I mean, can they hire you to build on their lot?
Depending on the price point right now, because the upswing went so fast that we're getting capable people to be able to oversee the product. Because
Okay.
there's a lot of nuance to doing a really high energy efficient house. Little things.
Okay.
And it's amazing. And about to the point is you don't have to spend a lot of money if you think it out right and you get the right products. And the cost of things from solar panels to foam insulation has dropped significantly. I'm buying the same solar panel that I bought 3 years ago, but for 1/3 the price.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, thank you.
Wow. You know, Jim, we are coming up against a break again. Do me a favor. Let us know who we can reach if you don't mind.
It's 281-236-4664.
4664.
Jim Waller with Solaris.
Solaris Homes. You're not going anywhere, but we are coming up against a break right now, so everybody stay tuned. We'll be right back.